Dan Hurley comes clean over Thanksgiving intentions for UConn after 74-61 win versus Illinois. Dan Hurley's squad depth has been put to the test early in the season. Nearly a month into UConn's historically challenging non-conference schedule, Dan Hurley had a full-strength Huskies squad for the first time against number 13 Illinois. Five-star freshman Braylon Mullins made his debut for UConn, and Terrace Reed Jr. returned after missing 2 games. However, while they are slowly ramping up, Hurley explained why they were still on a minute restriction. Malachi Smith and Solo Ball led the way for UConn with 14 and 15 points, respectively. Notably, Smith had 9 assists on the day, pulling the strings in UConn's 74-61 win in the Sentinel One showdown at Madison Square Garden. Reed played for 15 minutes while Mullins played for only 10 on his debut. A factor behind that limit was a day of practice missed on Thanksgiving. It was nice to just have 15 guys in practice, at least the day before. Today's Friday, so they practiced on Wednesday, and then we gave them off on Thanksgiving because they needed a little bit, just because these guys are dealing with serious things. So, they were both at around a 15-minute restriction today. So, hopefully when we get to Kansas, that'll jump into the 20s or so, Hurley said in an interview on the field of 68. Mullins played in the Huskies exhibition opener against Boston College back on October 13th, starting and scoring 12 points, before suffering an ankle injury in practice. He returned to full practice participation only this week. Reed, the 6'11" senior center who was the Huskies' leading scorer and rebounder, missed time due to an ankle injury. He also missed UConn's season-opening win over New Haven due to a hamstring issue. So, a Thanksgiving off was probably due amid the injury trouble. Beyond those two, Hurley has had a couple more injury issues. Jacob Furphy debuted against Bryant after recovering from an ankle injury. However, he remained an unused substitute in the Illinois game. Silas DeMary Jr. had a minor injury in the preseason. That might have been without a traditional turkey, though. We're not going to eat the FING tryptophan on Thursday and be sluggish as S on Friday. So we're going to eat the tryptophan, the turkey, and everything on Wednesday so that all the tryptophan is out of our system by the time we get to MSG. Here we go, Hurley had declared before Thanksgiving. Even with a few injuries, Hurley has the Huskies 6-1, with their only loss coming against number 4 Arizona. Once Mullins and Reed return without any restrictions and in full flow, this team could become significantly better. Dan Hurley explains how Terrace Reed's absence sent a ripple effect. This UConn side still hasn't found a reliable 3-ball. The team came into the game shooting 35% from 3 and were just above their average, scoring 10-28 from behind the arc. Solo Ball, one of their premier shooters, hasn't yet found his rhythm. In the first 6 games, he was accurate 25% of the time and went 2-9 from 3 against Illinois. Last year, he was UConn's best outside shooter at 41.4%. Dan Hurley explained that once Braylon Mullins and Terrace Reed get their rhythm, we will see an improvement in Ball's shooting as well. I want to see what we can be when we get Tuss and Mullins really up to speed because I think it's going to solve a lot of our offensive issues because we become a little bit too much like a donut when we don't have the big fella, just a little bit, and I think that affected the quality of the shots that Solo was getting as the game went on, Hurley said. UConn has decent shooters on its squad. Alex Caravan, Ball, and Malachi Smith can pose a threat from the outside. Braylon Mullins was an excellent 3-point shooter in high school, who averaged 32.9 points, 7.2 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 3.7 steals per game while shooting over 47% from 3-point range in his senior year. However, this team was not built to overdrive on a 5-out system. Their tallest core piece is Terrace Reed, who has been a ferocious rebounder and a force in the paint. Against Arizona, the team had a season low of 4 offensive boards with Reed sitting out. In just 15 minutes against Illinois, Reed had 3 offensive rebounds as UConn had 14 offensive boards on the day. Without Reed, Ball often has to contend with contested threes and more help-side defenders. The injured couple is coming back at just the right time. After Illinois, the Huskies will now travel to Kansas. They will then host East Texas A&M before returning to MSG for reigning national champion Florida and hosting Texas.